Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you once again for joining me. Matthew, Watty's channel, back in the game room with another episode, looking at some more recent pickups and whatnot. So today is Monday, December the 18th. Just one more week until Christmas. So last week, as I told you guys, finally was able to set up the tree, got the lights working. It's fully decorated. All of my wife's work, of course. It looks great, and with all the presents underneath the tree, it looks phenomenal. That's exactly how I kind of remember Christmas. You know, setting up the tree probably even before Thanksgiving, and kind of gradually adding presents to the tree as the month goes on, leading up to Christmas Day. And I remember one year we came downstairs, and it felt like the entire living room was just like wall to wall presents. And I'm like, what? And I'm just kind of curious, what was it about that particular year? Why did we end up with so many presents? It just made no sense. But as I said before, things like birthdays and Christmas and whatnot, when you grow up and you become an adult, they don't quite mean as much. With me and my wife, it's just basically been us the last 2 decades. And, we don't go visit family or anything like that. We don't have those type of relationships. So, and because you could pretty much buy whatever you want whenever you want. So it just doesn't hold the same special meaning as it does as a child. So, but either way, I absolutely love Christmas, and I always look forward to it. So on Friday, I did get a new package in from Mattel Creations, and I think I may have done a video about a couple of these figures in the past. Because they basically all fall under the same series, sort of. I'm going to probably talk about all 6 figures thus far. So we'll start off with the 2 newest acquisitions, and then we'll kind of do a little flashback and look at the other figures that arrived earlier this year. Also, in the last few days, a couple of Holy Grail items did arrive in the mail. Another one this afternoon from My Cardio. And when I do my next Holy Grail video, I'm going to show off all the figures, recent acquisitions over the last month and a half that I picked up. And that way I'll give a special shout out to all the sellers. And that one massive figure that I told you I would never buy, I didn't spend that kind of money on it. But yeah, that guy is also going to be joining the roster soon. And oh man, I hope I win this auction, because if I do, I'm pretty much done with the hat with the LJNs then. But if I don't do that video this week, guys, it'll probably come in next week. I think there's another 4 days or so to the auction. So today's Monday, so it probably went into Thursday or Friday, and to ship to me probably Tuesday. I'm really becoming impatient. I really want that figure, and if I lose out on it, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Alright guys, so the main purpose of this video is to talk about that acquisition that arrived on Friday. And from Mattel Creations, Ultimate Edition of the Hot Rod Roddy Piper and George the Animal Steel. Now it's kind of funny, when I first took this out of the box and I kind of looked at this backdrop, I really thought that, oh man, they sent me a damaged box. It wasn't until I actually kind of looked closely at the photograph and realized that he's eating the turnbuckle, and that's just the stuffing falling from the sky. That's so cool. I think LJN, with their 8-inch figures, really did a fantastic mold body sculpt of George Steele. I really enjoyed these figures ever since I got my first set, and I've enjoyed picking up the subsequent sets that followed. But I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the kind of articulation or the thinness of this particular figure. But we're gonna take a quick look. So we will start off with Hot Rod. And the reason I really enjoy these particular figures is because when you look at the card back, it just gives you that 1980s LJN feel. So that is incredible. And even the back, your same kind of bio card that you get from the LJNs. And even the picture scheme kind of reminiscent to that of LJN. So, when you got the original 2 figures, it was Terry Funk and Hulk Hogan. So I think from Coliseum, I think those were my very first purchases from them. And then later on, when they came out with Jake Roberts and Rick Rude, I kind of want to just keep that line going. so I picked them up, but neither figure really did it for me. And I really don't think either of these two figures in particularly aren't like super flashy. But I mean, come on, it's Roddy Piper. I mean, even my wife knows and loves Roddy Piper. Of course, she knows of Roddy Piper from Mario Brothers, but Roddy Piper. I mean, I grew up watching him in wrestling as a promo king of sorts. And, there was I think it was called Tropic Thunder, if I'm not mistaken. I think he and Hulk Hogan were the stars of that series. And Tropic Thunder was also a movie or two, I think, as well. And, yeah, to me, I think Roddy Piper is one of those guys you definitely have to try and go for. Normally, I get duplicates a lot of these figures, but not this time. I only went with one set for myself, and I'm good with that. Not going to try to resell anything. Not going to buy anything extra for display. Good thing about these figures is that the cards do slide right up, so that's awesome. And, it looks like it's relatively easy to take the figure out of the package, whatnot. So, when they started coming out with this concept of raising the card back so that you're not sitting there squeezing the bubble and ripping it off, because people do want to, save the card backing. As a collector, the condition of the package is as important as the actual product itself. And that's not just for toys. That's for pretty much anything that you collect. Good looking figure. Love Roddy Piper. And as we pull out another backing, the George Steele figure. You guys will hear me say it 100,000 times. Any of these figures that have articulation, it just absolutely destroys the figure. I don't know when they ever thought that 4 points of articulation or 10 points of articulation or 100,000 points of articulation was necessary. Your rubber LJNs were fantastic. Obviously, if the play pose wasn't there, it made them more difficult to use, but they were exceptional. Hasbro, when you initiated the working action, yeah, but not necessary. But body was basically flat, non-movable, which was great. Arms up and down. To me, that's what you will always need. But then you start getting these figures with, like, their feet move and, their ankles swivel and their knees swivel. Arms, their wrists, their elbows, heads move. I'm like, that's just too much. I talked about the Toy Biz WCW Diesel figure, Kevin Nash figure. The one I had probably more than 10 years, 15 years, I don't know. I only bought that one because it was on eBay one day, and I wanted to acquire a few Hasbro figures that are part of that lot. And I think I had like British Bulldog, I think Typhoon was in there, and I can't remember who the third character was. But and I had a bunch of, those old school WCW figures who I knew nothing about. But the figures aesthetically probably would work really well, but when you stand them up, what happens? Their legs shoot all directions. It's garbage. And I look at these figures, I kind of feel the same way, that you could not properly pose these guys without a stand or something, and it's wasteful. I kind of like the fact that he's eating a turnbuckle back here. That's funny. That is a humorous picture. But it's kind of sad if the bio card is the one thing about the figure in general that you really like. I mean, hair-wise, it's not like what LJN does. It's kind of very reminiscent to what XOX Customs does with their LJN Customs. Kind of smear dirt on the chest and call it hair. But, it's, from a distance, at least it looks more like hair than dirt. So, I mean, that's something. But like I said, he looks super thin. His legs are, like, super tiny. I mean, for a heavier set guy, you would think his legs would be much more bulging or whatnot. But, he's got the same body type for the most part of Roddy Piper. So, not a crazy fan about that. But, again, I do like the fact that on the bottom, they do keep going with your first set of figures onto your last set, so that's pretty awesome. And if you're missing any figures, at least you know, hey, who to go back and try to pick up. So that was what came in from Mattel Creations on Friday. I'm not going to end the video here. I am going to bring up the other figures just so you guys can kind of see the others if need be. So we're going to start with the second release before we move on to the first release. And starting off with Jake Roberts. Now, I think any figure that comes with accessory, you know I'm going to absolutely jump on and going to want to have. The overall look of the figure is fantastic. I think they probably hover over even the Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars. They look a little bit taller. So I think Jake himself was a pretty tall guy. And when you compare him to like LJN, which makes him like really small, yeah, that's pretty nice. His snake is pretty sensational. Actually looks like a snake, and that thing just, I mean, look at it. The head starts all the way up here. It kind of swivels all the way across his body and ends up over here by his back of his feet. And it kind of wraps around his foot right here. So, figure looks great. The accessory is amazing, and it makes the overall figure completely pop and look sensational. The back of the card, his bio card, kind of reminds me of not a cartoon, but it kind of reminds you of like a NES game or something, or maybe like when you're sitting down playing like Super Nintendo Zelda or something. See how the kind of graphics are on that? That's kind of like what his bio picture looks like a video game character. And again, when Series 2 came out, they added the additional 2 figures to the back. So, one figure I really do want from this line is like the LJ or the Hasbro mail-away version of Sergeant Slaughter. So the Sergeant Slaughter release on the Coliseum from Mattel Creations. That's what I want. I had a chance to buy it from my friend Buddy Daly. I've mentioned his channel on his eBay account a million times, and I think it sold for over $100, and at that point, I think it normally goes for like 200 plus. So I could have, if I wanted to, but I don't know. With these figures, I think you're spending like $60 for a pair of them. So when you go over $100 just for one figure, plus shipping and taxes and everything, you're basically paying twice the price for one figure, and I just don't want to do that. If I could have gotten for around $60, I could have lived with it, but at 120 plus. And just because it sells for like 105 doesn't mean that that's what, you know, the guy's bottom dollar would have been. He could have had 105. I could have put in 130, and then at the last minute he could have put in like 145 or something, you know. So, and outbid me. It's just how it works. But Jake Roberts, absolutely fantastic. Love this figure. And the Series 2 release, and all these figures came out in 2023, so they all blend in really well. This one, I kind of have questions about this Rick Rude figure, because when you look at his stomach, think about the Mattel Retros that have like, you know, that pose where they kind of go like that, right? Where like the upper chest is kind of separated from their stomach, and that's what that reminds me of. Overall, bio card, everything looks pretty solid. You know, I like the fact that, once again, we've talked about the card backs being reminiscent to that of your LJN Wrestling Superstars card backings. And kind of keeping with that, not only with the blue card and the design and whatnot, bio cards, but even the pant scheme is very reminiscent to the Series 6 Rick Rude. So that's pretty awesome. They got his little anchor tattoo on there. That looks pretty well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really stands out about this figure. No, not really. One thing that Rick Rude likes to do a lot is, like, any guy that he's doing battle with, like a Jake Roberts or an Ultimate Warrior, etc. I think Macho Man as well. Trying to think, who was it? It's on one of those. They got somebody's wife's face on there. I think it's Elizabeth's face when he was battling Macho Man. Could be wrong about that. I'll have to go back and verify. But and that's, to me, it's like you put Ultimate Warrior's face on the back, design on the back of his pants, right? He's basically telling you you're kissing my butt, essentially. So very disrespectful, but humorous, and I kind of like that aspect of Rick Rude. The figure to me is subsequent. I don't cherish it at all. And if it wasn't for this particular line, I probably wouldn't have ever thought twice about picking up something like that. The thing that got me started with all of it is the first release of these figures. And it is start off with Hulk Hogan. Before we look at the front and the figure, that Sergeant Slaughter I was telling you about, so now I'm thinking that that individual release was actually part of this same series. And I wish they would put like series number on here. They don't ever do that with any of the cards, and that bothers me. If you're going to manufacture a line of action figures, even if you have no idea what they're going to do as far as selling, if you plan on manufacturing 8 figures and you only get 2 of them out, so be it. If you plan on manufacturing 5 figures and all 5 of them are produced and released and they don't sell well and that's it, you're not going to produce them anymore, still put the Series 1 on there. To me, you don't know how important that is. Hulk Hogan, like I said, very reminiscent to the LJN Series 5 Hulk Hogan. Same color scheme. He's got this awesome cross chain necklace. Stick with the championship belt. One of my favorite Hogan figures ever. And very cartoony all in all. I think this one could probably be utilized a little bit better. I would actually like to take this figure out and have his championship belt for someone else, but the Hogan, I think the Hogan, because he is Hogan, after all, you had to have. I think the fact that this was like an LJN card back made it to a point where I couldn't say no. And knowing that Hulk Hogan was coming in the box alongside Terry Funk, even though I wasn't the biggest Terry Funk fan, or could hardly remember him at all, the one thing I like about Terry Funk figures is his accessories. And in this figure, you're not just talking about hat and his cattle prod, but even the shirt and pants look like they're removable. So this figure comes with an absolute ton of accessories, and I don't know. To me, those cloth accessories, even if you're looking at like Remco's or something, as a kid or as an adult, it doesn't matter. I don't think I ever would have taken those clothing accessories off. Heck, I could slap a WCW championship belt around the Galoob figures and still wrestle the Galoob figures with the belt on. I mean, as long as you don't yank on it or whatnot, you don't have to worry about those belts being damaged. Not really. So, like I said, Hogan and Terry Funk were the first, which technically, based on this, Sergeant Slaughter would have been your first. At the very least, they were the first Coliseum figures that I purchased with Funk and Hogan, and then continuing on with the next 2 sets. So, as I said, guys, very simple video, because with the Coliseum pickups, I just wanted to show off the new acquisitions with George Steele and Roddy Piper. But I figure it's really important to add those others, just so that you viewers, you as the viewers, could see the different figures in the line. So many figures have come in last couple days. Today I got a number of figures in. One sort of grill piece. Yeah, I want to try and hold off on making that video until after I get the last of the pieces in. So from today I also got from the Raider Nation a couple more figures. I think tomorrow I'm going to come down here and make another video for the recent pickups from the Raider Nation. I think the last one I ever did for them was like the Bam Bam Bigelow and Cactus Jack, and I think Blue Blazer was another one. But any of the figures I've gotten since, I haven't done any reviews for them. So, and already the Raider Nation, and with Justin and of course Kenny Lester as the artist, some of my absolute favorite figures have come in from that site. So I always try to give much of a shout out to them as I possibly can. And yeah, I said that this year I wanted to be different in the sense that I didn't want to wait, 2-3 days to make a video, and I haven't been doing that. I've been kind of be sporadic, trying to find what works best for the channel. But in 2024, definitely that's the goal. If I have a video to make, I'm going to make it that day. I'm not going to wait, be like, hey, I just posted a video today. I can't post another one for 2 or 3 days. No. I'll make a video and I'll post it immediately. Probably not the exact same day. If I normally post a video, let's say 9 a.m., I'll probably wait till like 9 a.m. the next day. But sure enough, the videos will be coming out immediately afterwards. So no long 2, 3, 4 day turnarounds or anything like that. Am I going to be able in 2024 to keep up the pace that I had here in 2023? I think because I had a lot of review videos, a lot of tournament videos that really shot up my video total substantially, over 200 videos easy this year. I don't, based on the type of videos I plan on making next year, I don't think I'm going to be having quite as much to talk about, not unless I basically redo a lot of these videos over and over again. And I'm sure for those who've been watching me, you don't want to see the same stuff repetitiously. So what else we got going on? So Raider Nation is I'll make a video for it tomorrow. And so if this video will be posted on Tuesday, that video will be posted Wednesday. And I'm hoping by next Tuesday, next Wednesday, I will have, if I win the auction, the last figure that I need, that I've been talking about. And probably a few days after that, I'll probably have the last 4 figures I purchased from Random Treasures come in. So I'll make a video just to kind of show off the last 4 figures that I acquired. So I do think that these kind of like unboxing type videos will probably be will be very predominant in 2014. Even though I'm not really unboxing them in front of you, they operate the same way. So you guys get to see some new pickups and whatnot. What else? I always gotta look around the room before I close because I always see something last minute that I want to talk about. But so far I'm kind of looking around, and I think that's pretty much it. So hopefully this was a good video for you guys, and see some of the figures that maybe you knew about or didn't know about, or maybe you knew about a couple of them and didn't realize that there were others. So if you need to, jump on Mattel Creations. 2-pack sets you back about $60. If you think you might be interested in the future, but you don't know if you're ready to pick it up now, my recommendation is pick it up now. Because once these figures are sold out from Mattel Creations, you're gonna be paying twice the price for them on a market like eBay or something. And that could be beneficial for you as well, because if you decide you don't want them, you could turn around and resell them, and for a profit. It might be a $10 profit, it might be a $100 profit, but at least you'll get your money back, and that's the important thing. So alright guys, that is it for now. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.